several Washington lawmakers are taking aim at imitation meat products, calling for more accurate labeling in the grocery store to help boost transparency for consumers and their families. U.S. Senator Roger Marshall of Kansas has taken time to come by our studio for an update. Senator, thank you so much for joining us. You know, I said before we went to camera, it is so confusing. You go into a grocery store. Well, there's, of course, protein, animal protein, cultivated meat, plant-based. Something's got to be done.
Exactly. Consumers more than ever want to know exactly what they're eating. They want to know where it's from as well. So I think it's very unfair to put some of these soybean or plant-based proteins, putting them in the meat counter and really mislabeling them. So what we're calling on is that we understand the consumer very clear labeling. Where did this protein come from? They're assuming if it's in the meat counter, it's from an American-grown cow, pig, chicken, whatever it is. They don't have any ideas from plant-based. And really, the science and the studies behind the plant-based, they're not held to the same level that American products are, the typical protein sources.
So with that being said, boosting transparency, that is the goal of the Fair Labels Act. So speak to that and the next steps for this legislation, because it's bipartisan support. Clearly, a lot of people on board with this.
It is clearly that simple, is to make it transparent what folks are buying. And whether it's almond juice or whether it's a soybean or based protein, consumers deserve to understand what it is. As far as next steps, I'm afraid that our White House and some of my friends across the aisle will make this a priority. So we'll keep fighting.
Yeah, absolutely. I know there's a lot on the docket. Absolutely. Speaking to that, I want to talk about foreign ag land ownership. Big topic right now. A lot of people concerned, and some people may not know, what's at stake here. When we have countries, adversarial countries, that are getting land right next to an Air Force base, clearly this is an issue.
Right. So first of all, food security is national security. Americans, we take our groceries so much for granted, but we're blessed to just live in this incredible country where we can actually grow more than we can eat. Other nations see this and they want to move in here and try to gain ownership of whether it's land or the meat processing or whatever stage of this food process is. They want to own pieces of it. We think it's a threat to national security. We think that the Secretary of Agriculture should be on this committee that decides and overviews foreign investments to see is it a threat to national security or not.
Absolutely. I know you said there's a lot of legislation, there's bills in place for this. So next steps here and how we move forward on this?
Well, again, it's the same story. Is this a priority for people across the aisle? Is it a priority for the White House? Is there an opportunity to put some of this on the Farm Bill? Time will tell.
I know you have said if it can't be measured, it can't be managed. So speak to that. This is a bill that you want to get in, you want to get data, you want to find out what is going on out there before you guys finalize.
It is that simple. Right now, we don't even have a good idea of how much land does China own and exactly where it is. So we're calling on this administration to do their job, measure it, so then we can manage it and see what big of a threat this is or isn't.
Another big issue, and I'm sure on a lot of people's minds, immigration crisis. I mean, what's going on? How do we control this at the border? And every state really becoming a border town at this point.
Yeah, certainly the folks back home, this is our number one concern. Every state is now a border state. 10 million people have crossed the border illegally the last 3 years. 1.9 million gotaways, terrorists, foreign nationals, all these things are happening. We're working on legislation, but what and Americans understand this president has the authority right now to shut down the border. Why does he want more legislation when he already has the authority to do it? I don't think Americans are going to fall for this.
How does this affect, and if you can speak to that, the farmer, the producers, especially along some of these border states, really being affected? If you can talk to that a little bit.
So I've been to the border several times and spent time on some of these ranches and some of these farms. And number one is just the physical threat that many of these farmers and ranchers have been physically threatened by these people. They tear up their fields. They disrupt the work that's going on the farm, if you can imagine that as well. Just the constant disruption of the activities as well, let alone the vandalism and just the inability to do your daily work.
Who pays for this? That's the big question. Who's going to pay for all of this?
Well, it's costing American taxpayers about $500 billion a year. And the White House has found ways to take monies from one place and put them into another. But of course, it's all in the back of American taxpayers.
What would you like to see happen right now?
Well, I want to secure the border. I think that's my number one priority. I think there's policy changes that need to be made, but mostly Joe Biden just needs to enforce the current law and stop breaking the law. Right now, he's been paroling about 700,000 people a year. Under Barack Obama, he only paroled 5,000 people a year. So we went from 5,000 to 700,000. Clearly, the parole law says you're supposed to do this one person at a time, and Joe Biden is doing it tens of thousands of people at a time. So just enforce the current laws that we have, maintain operational control.
Absolutely. I'm going to switch gears now. I want to talk about, of course, the Farm Bill. A lot of our producers and farmers, this is something that we talk about every day on a daily basis, multiple times throughout the day. Big thing that a lot of farmers and producers say, crop insurance.
Crop insurance, crop insurance,
Yeah,
crop
crop
insurance.
insurance.
Crop insurance is the backbone of every farm bill. And your listeners, most of them understand, but we need to communicate to folks that don't live on the farm that crop insurance allows us to plant next year's crops. That we have so many forces against us from Mother Nature we cannot control. You can be the best of farmer, lose your crop. Crop insurance has gone up. Just like everyone's insurance has gone up, crop insurance has gone up. We're kind of stalled in a farm bill right now. We've maxed the funding for the food programs, but we want to put farm back in the farm bill. We think we need to have more money for crop insurance as well as the Title I funding, the PLC reference prices, the ARC reference prices.
You can speak to this. We ask our farmers and producers to do so much, go out of bounds, do more, and not have the support. So clearly this is very important.
And that's the beauty. American farmers are growing more with less. We're the original conservationists, but yet our input prices are going up and up and up, whether it's fertilizer or diesel fuels. But the big concern back home is interest rates. The average farmer has $1 million operation loan. Their interest rates went from 2 to 9%. That basically ate whatever profit was left as well. So we are asking them to do more with less. Again, the greatest country in the world, incredible that no one has to go to bed hungry. We're truly blessed by all that these producers are doing.
Senator, I know you are doing everything you can, and as you said, boy, it's just layer after layer up on the Hill. Farm Bill. What do you say? When do you think this is going to happen?
Well, it's interesting. We just got a letter I read yesterday from the chairwoman, Debbie Stabenow, senator from Michigan. A little bit more encouraging letter. The first really movement I've seen in the past year that she wants to talk about crop insurance. She wants to talk about the Title I funding. So maybe I wish we talked about it a year ago or 2 years ago, but it sounds like she's ready to have that discussion. There are some concerns in the letter. We're breaking it down a little bit. We're worried that she may want to make producers choose between crop insurance or the Title I funding. So we need to take a step back. We're looking for all our ag groups to read the letter, and we'll try to dig into the policy and see where our producers are.
So important. Producers, farmers, get involved. Let your voice be heard. Senator Marshall, thank you so much for all that you do on behalf of our farmers and producers, and also taking time, as always, to stop by our studios here at RFDTV. Appreciate you very much.
Thanks for giving us a voice.
You bet. Senator Roger Marshall.